This is a 2025 Nissan Frontier Pro-4X, and this is the entrance to a sand dunes. We are going to go off-roading in the Pro-4X, but more specifically, we're going to go on sand dunes in the Pro-4X and wiggle around a little bit in this thing. I do have some bumps right away. I do also have it in 4 high and traction control off. I am with a group with Nissan, so you will actually see a Nissan Armada in front of me at the moment, and we're just gonna drive around and see how it feels. Let's take a quick look at the Frontier Pro-4X on the sand dunes before we get through the entire sand dunes. You can see that we are working with 17-inch wheels with Hankook all-terrain tires. These are Dynapro AT2 tires, and behind that we have Bilstein off-road shocks right there. This truck also has extra ground clearance and it's wider as well. I'll go ahead and put those specs up on the screen right now. In fact, let me show you all the dimensions of this truck right on the screen for you to see right now. It is taller and wider than your standard Frontier. Up front, it's probably pretty easy to see. We have what Nissan calls lava red tow hooks down low, so we have the front tow hooks. The truck has pretty similar look to the standard Frontier, but that does still offer good approach and departure angles. Of course, the truck reminds you that it's a Pro-4X right there and right there. Nothing about the powertrain is different. However, we still have the same 3.8 liter V6 making 310 horsepower, and it is longitudinally mounted or 4-aft like that, just like any classic front engine rear wheel drive base truck would be, and it's proving to be plenty of power to muscle up the sand just fine. You notice that we have been on the dunes for a minute already. We mentioned being aired down. There you can see that currently we're at 14 psi for 3 of the 4 tires. That driver's rear is just a touch higher. And here is a look at the surround view camera system if we want to take a look at what's going on. Otherwise, you know, pretty comfortable truck. We do have heated seats. We do have a heated steering wheel. We do have dual zone climate control, and the seats are comfortable and supportive. So yeah, it's just fine. Let's get back to the dunes. We do, of course, have 4-wheel drive. It is a part-time 4-wheel drive system, and we are currently, as I said, in 4 high. And as we ascend this hill right here, so far it's easy work for the Nissan, and you get an understanding of just like this vastness of sand kind of all around us. And then off in the distance, that is Lake Michigan. We are right on the west coast of Michigan here. It did rain a bit overnight last night, so the sand is a little wet. Apparently that actually helps us. The wet sand compacts down a little bit and we get a little bit more traction. But this is still a loose material, clearly. So it would be interesting to see how these all-terrain tires hold up to these conditions. I'm not too worried about clearances or anything like that, but it'd be interesting to see if and where we have trouble. We have reached our first real hill climb. It doesn't sound like the most serious hill we're gonna do, but you know, pretty formidable patch of sand, and we're gonna be in 2nd gear. Traction control is off, 4 high, and yeah, so manual mode, 2nd gear. All right, let's see what we got. Get a good bit of momentum going. Oh, she's bouncy. Sliding around a little bit, but it's not bad. Oh, easy. Easy work. Easy work. First Frontier clear. Yeah, there you go. A bit of a bumpy hill climb, but no problem at all. We got a little momentum going in the front. Slid around a little bit, but even then it wasn't bad. So yeah, that actually gives me more confidence to do more. We'll see what else these sand dunes have for us. So we're actually going down a little hill here right now, and then we're going around what at times can be a very deep water pit apparently, but it's pretty dry right now. The sand's not even very wet, but this is loose stuff. So you definitely can feel the truck slide around some, and you can crab walk a little bit. Okay, going up another patch here. Smaller hill, certainly, than before. And yeah, a little bit of sliding around, but not much. But then, coming around and downhill, we've got another set of kind of gradual sweeping hills here. This looks pretty easy by comparison to that first bigger hill we did. It's interesting, all the bumps and undulations just kind of inherently in the sand from being driven around on all the time. So it's bumpier than you'd expect, at least than I intuitively thought it would be. Yeah, but like as I turn the wheel, you can see there's so much play in here. You know, again, we're also at 13 PSI for both front tires, 14 PSI for the rear tires now that they've warmed up a little bit. Okay, now we've got a bit of a steep downhill. We'll see how that feels. Yeah, pretty steep initial drop here. I don't see anything, and then whoop, there we go. Actually, no problem. We slid around a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. Another steep downhill here. Can't see anything, and yep, chugging right down. Then a nice little bump here. Yeah, again, we have, I think it's 9.5 inches of ground clearance, so that's comfortable. And we've got another pretty steep hill. I have to be honest, the first hill looked a little steeper, but this one is a little bit bigger, so it'll be interesting to see if we can keep the momentum up. The last hill, I was impressed with how easy it was to maintain momentum. I didn't feel like we were getting bogged down much at all. All right, I'm gonna start a little easy because these are some big undulations to start here. And then I'll get moving. All right, adding a little bit more here. Okay, now adding some, because this is pretty soft. Yeah, but we're actually getting through that pretty well. I thought that might hold me up a little bit, but not at all. No problem at all. This Frontier handles the sand with zero trouble. All right, we've got a big hill coming up and a sharp, steep overlap once we get through the hill. So this one will be interesting. Could be fun. All right, I'm gonna start easy here to avoid the biggest bumps. And then let's add some throttle now. Get some good momentum, guys. Some pretty soft stuff. Oh yeah, we're bounding around well here. It's good clean stuff. And then over the top. Whoa, and back down. That's a steep jump over. Yeah, that was for that last hump over was really interesting to see just that sharp changeover. And you know, we feel everything pop over like that. That was interesting. It was fun. Fun, I think, is a better word. All right, some more undulations going downhill and pretty big uphill, though not as steep this one. Go a little bit faster through these. yeah, you'll get moving around. Those undulations, they're not super steep, but they're not nothing. So this one isn't as steep, so I'm staying pretty light on the throttle here. And yeah, no problem. We're having no trouble with grip so far. As long as you keep the momentum going, it's not bad at all. This gets a little steep here at the top, but still no problem. All right, this one seems to get a little bumpy at the bottom, and then there's a bump at the top. Since I'm not the lead vehicle, I get that help there. All right, here we go. Some bumps. All right, keep it moving. Oh yeah, yeah, this is pretty soft, and we're getting a lot of bumps here, lifting off over the top. Whoa, yeah, that's steep right there at the bottom. But then we keep going. All right, keep the momentum going. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's bounce around a bit. Another steep peak here. Off the throttle, I don't see anything. And there's the group. So, wow, yeah, there it is. Sand dunes and a Frontier. Why not? And how about, look at that, the truck ahead of us doing some crab walking. The Nissan Frontier Pro-4X is Nissan's version of going towards off-roading, getting that extra step, all-terrain tires, different shock absorbers, a little bit more clearance, those types of things, the tow hooks up front. It's not special, particularly in terms of how far Nissan goes versus Honda or Toyota or GM or Ford. But I think it does actually highlight the inherent capability of the Frontier, the inherent truckiness of the Frontier, because it handled all of these situations with relative ease and with relatively low modifications. Being on the sand dunes, we did have the tires down below 15 psi, but otherwise this is a stock truck and it handled well. Going to the sand dunes proved to be a good showcase of this being just inherently a solid truck. I like having a naturally aspirated V6. I like having just the inherent clearances and structure that we have. And yeah, this was not stressful, but it was a lot of fun. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.